How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Some idea.
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them. I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do, and this influences my thinking and consequently my action.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent
retarded?
$200. Have you seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I like
Great
her.
Noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
not Ian.
it's not a because I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is
problem.
that what you call reporter?
Go under if you're going to do it. Go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah, please.
But Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
Yeah, well, and even Antifa doesn't want to be called liberal. Did you know that?
What do they know?
Well, Antifa is anti-capitalist, and that is not liberal. So that's the problem. Is like the terms are really muddy right now. So when you're looking at like Portland, the protesters in Portland.
Yeah, what exactly is going on in Portland? I'm trying not to pay attention.
Oh, well, what's happened is...
I know they've brought in the National Guard. Is that happening? Or
Yeah.
they tried to and they got blocked?
No, I think they have now. I think they're there. So what's happened is they're in front of the ICE facility. There are ongoing protests at night. Now, I watch these streams, and I've been watching a self-professed fascist named Karlyn, who drinks and basically roasts these live streams. But weirdly, she has apparently embedded herself with Antifa before. And so it's such a funny stream because like...
So they tolerate her?
Oh, no, not anymore. She like... No. She's like, I mean, I don't know if she's trolling or not, but on her stream, she's like, I am a fascist.
Right.
So she's proudly proclaiming she's a fascist. I don't know how much of that is trolling, how much of it is real, but conservatives who are drawn to her stream will say things like, these people are funded by George Soros. And it's the funniest thing because she gets so mad. And she's like, get off fucking Fox News. Stop watching that shit. It's all wrong. Do these people look funded? Do these people look like they have money? They're not funded. It's so, and I guess her bigger point is by saying these are funded agitators and not saying what they actually are, which is anti-capitalist revolutionaries, you dilute what's really happening. Because what's really happening, according to her, and I think a fair amount of people, is that the economy is so fucked. The middle class is diminishing so much. The cost of living is so high that this is the perfect soil you need if you wanted communism to grow anywhere.
I feel like I've arrived. I slept in today because I was up real late last night, and I woke up, and the first thing I see is someone in my mentions saying, hey, Karlyn, they were talking about you on Joe Rogan. And I was like, what? Like, excuse me, what? What's even happening right now? What? Like, seriously? And it was within, like, the first, 5 minutes of the show. And I was like, oh, shit. And then he said my name correctly. I don't know who Duncan is, but he was dressed like a priest. And so that means he's mocking religion in some way, shape, or form. And so I automatically had an affinity towards him. And then he said my name correctly. And I was like, oh. And then he talked about how he loves watching me yell at people when they say that Antifa is funded by Soros. And I was like, am I in love? Is this the best thing that's ever happened? Am I leaving my husband for Duncan? Like, what is going on? Like, this is amazing. Was that not like the greatest clip ever of someone talking about me? It's like, Karlyn is awesome because she drinks on the internet and roasts Antifa, but she seriously goes undercover with Antifa. But she might be a fascist, but I'm not sure if she's just trolling. And you know what? That's exactly the impression I want to leave with people. I like, sincerely, I really do think, I think my work is at its best when people don't know if I'm being serious or if I'm trolling, or they don't know what side I'm on, or any of that. And so, I mean, I just like, man, I'm on a generational run. Nick Fuentes is not the only person that's on a generational run right now. I am also on a generational run, being on Fox News, and then getting all these other interviews, and then getting an hour-long interview with Harrison Smith on InfoWars, and now being mentioned by on the Joe Rogan podcast for like the very best things I could be mentioned for. W me. But you know, guys, we do need to keep focused. And I know this is all very exciting, and I know it's awesome, and I know there are a lot of people on the channel that have been working for a really long time for the moment that we have finally reached, where my message is breaking through, and everyone knows the Trump administration is full of shit and isn't doing anything about Antifa, and people are finally seeing it, and everyone is able to identify, oh, here are the conservative con artists that are lying to people, and here's actual primary source evidence about what's happening. We have to stay focused in this moment. We have to stay focused in this moment. We have to keep pushing forward. We cannot be distracted by shows and interviews and clips, even though it's awesome and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate how excited people are about it. We have to stay focused like a laser on what we're doing. And we got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. It is a big day. It is a big day. Thank you, Miles, for becoming a YouTube channel member. I appreciate it. Yeah, Joe Rogan mentioned. Yeah. I said this. Someone was asking me about this the other day. Like, Karlyn, would you ever go on Joe Rogan? And I said, I would be terrified out of my mind to go on Joe Rogan. I really would be. But maybe that'll happen. I don't know. I feel like I'm one degree of connection closer, but like I would be like, no joke, terrified to go on Joe Rogan. Terrified of that level of exposure. Terrified. But you know what? Like, we're just leaving it to the universe. I'm not going to go after, I never shill myself out for shows. I'm not one of those people that like, people are like telling me like, Karlyn, get a publicist. I'm like, I'm not getting a fucking publicist. Like, no, I don't want a publicist. I don't want someone managing me and telling me what I can say and do and trying to fucking brand me. I don't want to be a brand. I am just a person on the internet that analyzes the left. That's all I am. I don't want to be polished and made to get a certain haircut and told to act a certain way and told that I have words I can't say and all that stuff. I don't want that. So here's the deal, guys. If it is meant to be, it will be. I'm opening myself up to the universe and saying, use me as you will, God. And that's what it is. So whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and I'm just not worrying about it. I'm staying focused on what I want to do. I get you, but I can say your secret is safe with me and Jericho Movement as a terrorist group. I have no idea what you're talking about. No idea at all. But I'm going to thank you for the money. Appreciate it. Duncan made you, yeah, I know. Duncan was so cute because even they were talking about like the far left for like a good little bit in that clip, like, and Duncan has obviously been listening and Duncan understands. And I appreciate that. Again, I don't know who Duncan is. I have no idea, but I appreciate that he's been watching and listening. Maybe I'll check out whatever he's doing on Netflix. I haven't even watched Netflix in so long. I don't even watch TV anymore. I watch the left. That's it. I watch the left. All right. Well, we do have a bunch of stuff we need to do today, guys. And we are, again, keeping focused on what's going on. Now, today, we're going to be talking about the No Kings protest. The No Kings protest is coming back. People remember, what was it? When was the last No Kings protest? It was in June. It was in June because I was in Boston for it. So the last No Kings protest was in June, and it was overlapping with a lot of Pride weekends, and it ended up being the single largest protest, the largest single day protest in American history. So the No Kings protest was actually a pretty big deal. There were millions and millions of people that came out, but the No Kings protest is not Antifa. The No Kings protest is not the far left. The No Kings protest is it's not even the Democratic Socialists of America, although they did go. The No Kings protest is a progressive protest. The lead organizer for the No Kings protest is Indivisible. This is a progressive organization. We always want to make sure that we're not confusing progressives with the DSA or progressives with Antifa and the revolutionary far left, because they are very, very different things. Let me grab this super chat real quick. Thank you, Roddy Mom. Thank you for teaching all of us old folks what we're up against. Hey, I appreciate you being here. So the No Kings protest, what they're saying is that the one coming up on October 18th actually might be even larger than the one in June. Now, I want to make this very clear. Again, this is not organized by Antifa. This is not organized by the DSA. This is not organized by the far left. However, Antifa and the DSA and many other far leftist groups will be at the No Kings protest because it just makes sense, right? If you want to recruit and radicalize more people to the far left, as obviously these people do, you need to go where leftists might be. And on one of the biggest protest days of the year, I think we can all surmise that leftists are going to be at the No Kings protest, okay? Regardless of who is organizing it, they will still be there. You got a large crowd of people. You got an opportunity to wave signs and hand out flyers and stuff like that. As we know, one of the main ways that Antifa recruits and radicalizes people is by handing out propaganda, like all this stuff I always perpetually have sitting on my desk. And so this is a big recruiting opportunity for Antifa. And just earlier today, Antifa posted on their main website, which is CrimeThink. CrimeThink is the main publishing arm of Antifa. You can see it there. They actually posted their plans for how are we as Antifa going to utilize the No Kings protest to our greatest advantage. So for the last No Kings protest, Antifa actually put together a flyer. I reviewed it on the channel at the time. You can find a copy of it over in the Substack. For the last No Kings protest, I forgot to turn the chat on. There you go. Now you can see the chat on the screen. For the last No Kings protest, Antifa wrote a flyer basically talking about their vision and their values. They did not sign it as Antifa. It was just a generic flyer saying, here are some things to think about when you're thinking about leftist politics. The flyer that they handed out at the last No Kings Day protest, it was like planting the seed. Because again, they know that they're going into a sea of progressives. They are absolutely clear that they're going into a sea of progressives and liberals and all that stuff. But what they want to do is plant the seed of revolutionary thought. Okay. So for the last one, what they did was they made a very generic flyer that did not say Antifa. It didn't have any organization on it, just talking about their ideas. And then they went to the protest and they were dressed in plain clothes. They were not dressed in black bloc. They were explicit about this on their website, and they just handed out the flyer. And so it is literally just about planting the idea of far left revolutionary thought in these leftists who many people coming to this protest might be very disaffected with the Democratic Party. Many people coming to these protests might be very disaffected with the establishment leadership, but they're not going to go right. This is what Republicans don't understand. It's what Republicans and conservatives don't want to hear. Just because someone is fed up with the Democratic Party does not mean they're going to the right. In this case, they have a lot of options to go to the left. They've got the Democratic Socialists of America. They've got the Working Families Party. They've got the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They've got the Revolutionary Communists of America. They have all these different extreme far left groups they can be a part of. There are many, many options to move further left if you are disaffected and fed up with the Democratic Party. Okay? So although Antifa is not involved in the organizing of the No Kings protest, although Antifa would disavow the people who are organizing it, Antifa sees an opportunity where there's going to be a lot of people in the same place at the same time, and they're all going to be fired up, and they all probably hate the Democratic Party. And so Antifa is going to go, and they're going to try to use this opportunity to get more people to radicalize to the far left. And that's what we're going to read about today. We're going to read about their specific plans for how they're going to do that. So you can hear directly from them. As always, guys, you never have to take my word for it. You know, someone posted on my in my comments earlier, they're like, I'm having a really hard time finding a time when Karlyn has been wrong about anything. Well, do you know why that is? Do you know why I'm almost never wrong? Because all I do is look at primary source evidence. You can't be wrong when you're looking at primary source evidence. This is just factually what Antifa is saying. This is published on their website. This is their perspective. You're not getting a narration. You're not getting an interpretation. I'm not wrong because I'm literally just showing you what they're posting on the internet. Like, it's not rocket science, guys. The White House just announced that over $100 million of taxpayer funds and laundered donations went to Antifa-linked groups. Well, let's talk about that. You want to bring that up? Let's talk about that. I posted this on my website yesterday. You guys can go and find it. That's absolute bullshit. That's absolute bullshit in ways that I cannot even begin to explain. It is absolute and total bullshit. And I'm going to prove it to you. And you guys, yeah, let the yelling commence. Let the yelling commence for how badly the White House is lying to people right now. Has anyone actually read the report that was referenced in the Antifa meeting at the White House yesterday? Has anyone actually read the report? Again, I don't give a fuck what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. I don't give a fuck what interpretation Pam Bondi has of anything. Because Donald Trump does not understand what he's talking about. Pam Bondi doesn't understand what he's talking about. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon is more offended by my use of capital letters than she knows about communists. Like, we don't pay attention to what any of what these people say. We go directly to the primary source evidence. So one of the things that the White House is leaning on right now is this report that came out of this group called the Capital Research Group. And this is a report that they released, and we actually read it on the channel. Exclusive Soros Open Society gave $80 million to pro-terror groups. Woo! If you actually read the report, and you can find my breakdown of this on the website, there is not a single Antifa group mentioned in the report. There is not one single Antifa group in the report. The closest thing that is in the report, and again, you don't have to take my word for it. It's a 72-page report. You can download the PDF on the website. You can read it for yourself. You do not take my word for any of this. The only connection with Antifa in the report is there were a couple of groups who they said had ties and links to Antifa. Not that they were Antifa, but maybe there was some sort of connection. But even those groups are not Antifa groups. There was one group in particular that I was interested in, and that's the National Lawyers Guild. We've been talking about the National Lawyers Guild on the channel because the National Lawyers Guild is the organization that provides legal support to Antifa. Now, that's not the only place that Antifa gets legal support, by the way. There are lawyers that are in Antifa. There are Antifa lawyers that provide their services pro bono. Can't do anything about that. However, there is one organization in particular that does provide them with legal services, and that's the National Lawyers Guild. And one of the thoughts that we had was, okay, we know Trump can't cut off funding to Antifa because regardless of whatever bullshit Trump spouts in a meeting, there is no major funding and backing for Antifa. There's just not. Antifa is funded by mutual aid. They are funded by cash donations from many, 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 many people. There is no George Soros that is funding Antifa. Trump yesterday in the meeting says Antifa are paid protesters. That's one of the dumbest things that Trump has ever said in his life. Antifa are not, oh, I'm a liar. Here, the conservatives are about to have feelings. I'm a liar. You're banned from the channel. Go away. No conservative feelings in the channel, guys. If you have feelings about the truth, then run right back to Fox News. No one wants to hear from you, okay? I have explained to people that Antifa is similar to AA, separate groups where there is no leader. They are self-funded, centered around distributing literature. Soul Quest, that is a great way to explain it. That is a great way to explain it. There is no leader in Antifa, guys. And listen, I don't care about any article appearing in the Washington Examiner. This is yet another example of conservative retardation right here. Caroline Levitt today, Antifa leaders flee America as Trump cracks down on domestic terrorist networks. First of all, they're talking about Mark Bray, who wrote the Antifa handbook. Mark Bray isn't really relevant on the left right now. I know he wrote the Antifa handbook, but I very rarely even see Mark Bray mentioned by far leftists. I very rarely see Mark Bray presenting at conservative conferences. Like, I mean, he was still around. Don't get me wrong. He was still teaching. I'm not saying Mark Bray had gone away completely, but Mark Bray is not the leader of Antifa. It is absolutely boneheaded and stupid to think that Mark Bray is the leader of Antifa just because he wrote a book one time. Is there another retard in the chat that I need to take care of? Hang on. It seems like there might be another retard in the chat. Hang on. You block someone for their opposition. Bah, 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 bah. Katie thinks I'm a Democrat, guys. This is the level of retardation that we deal with conservatives. I say this all the time. We have got to gatekeep this community. I will gatekeep the shit out of this community to keep all conservative retards that want to call me a Democrat or want to call me an Antifa recruiter. We are going to gatekeep your asses out of our space because you're too stupid to be here, too low IQ. Go away. Goodbye. To say that there is any leadership in Antifa at all shows that the White House has no clue how Antifa works. Antifa is a non-hierarchical organization. It is a completely decentralized organization where there's no leadership, there's no generals, there's no one giving marching orders, there's no fucking funding. It is all funded by mutual aid. The White House doesn't understand this. Donald Trump doesn't understand this. And because of that, they are trying to sell this lie to people. They're trying to sell this lie in the form of this report to say, look at all this George Soros money going to Antifa. Except that when you actually read the report and you actually look at the groups mentioned, there is not a single Antifa group mentioned in this report. Now, we were talking earlier about the about the National Lawyers Guild. Let me just scroll down in this article, and you can find this article on the website. Actually, you know what? Let's just look at the report. Do I have the report? Here's the PDF of the report. We're looking at the report directly. This is an actual PDF. Anyone can download this. Just getting a minute to load here. Here we go. Here is the PDF of the report. National Lawyers. Can't spell today. Cool. Here it is. Right here. The National Lawyers Guild, who is Antifa's lawyers, are mentioned in the report. The only connection that they have that George Soros is funding Antifa is a $25,000 grant that was given to the National Lawyers Guild in 2017. It's been 8 years since the Open Society Foundation gave $25,000 to the National Lawyers Guild. Now, let me just ask you guys in the chat. We're talking about an organization that is charged with representing Antifa in court on a national basis. Do you guys think that $25,000 is enough to defend Antifa in court on a national basis for 8 years? One in the chat if you think one single $25,000 grant from the Open Society Foundation is enough to defend Antifa in court for 8 fucking years on a nationwide basis. This is the report that the White House is using, guys. This is the report. So if you want me to believe that Antifa is funded by the Open Society Foundation, you're going to have to do a whole lot fucking better than $25,000 8 years ago. Only literal retards believe that Antifa is funded by George Soros. They are not going after Antifa. They are going after the Party for Socialism and Liberation. That is what is going on. Because the Party for Socialism and Liberation is explicitly mentioned in this report. And the Party for Socialism and Liberation is the group that is funded by the CCP. That is confirmed. That's real. Antifa hates the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Antifa won't work with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Antifa explicitly denounces the CCP. Antifa calls the Party for Socialism and Liberation the paid protesters. When Nick Shirley yesterday was at the White House, and Nick Shirley said, "I've seen them busing people in," he wasn't talking about Antifa. He was talking about the Party for Socialism and Liberation, because the Party for Socialism and Liberation are the ones that bust people in. When Trump said yesterday, they've got all these beautiful signs. They're printing all these beautiful signs. That's not Antifa. Antifa doesn't print beautiful signs. Do you know who does? The Party for Socialism and Liberation. If you look at protests, because we watch protest coverage on this channel all the time, the big, beautiful signs always have at the bottom, Party for Socialism and Liberation. The Trump White House is not going after Antifa. And anyone who says they are have not read the report, and they do not understand the far left. The Trump White House is going after the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't like the Party for Socialism and Liberation. The Party for Socialism and Liberation is a group that is absolutely funded by the CCP. They have several different connections. They are connected to Breakthrough News, which is a 1 million+ subscriber YouTube channel. They're connected to the People's Forum in New York. They hold weekly pro-Palestine protests. Who's paying you? This is a conservative retard. Who's paying you to say it's not George Soros? Who's paying you? Do you know who pays me? Thousands of people who just want primary source evidence and are sick to death of being lied to by conservative fucking retards. Do you know who funds my work? Thousands of individuals that are paying me $8 a month or $80 a year over on a Substack, or who are sending me super chats, who just want access to the real information. That's who pays me. My God. My fucking God. I'm sorry. I gotta ban you, bro. Too stupid to be here. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Back to the Party for Socialism and Liberation. The Party for Socialism and Liberation was intimately involved in the pro-Palestine protests where they set up encampments on college campuses all over the country. Let's grab this super chat. Just joining. I think they're trying to lump all leftists into Antifa to form a narrative because they're going after the groups that can do more. Well, that's partially true, but they're specifically going after the Party for Socialism and Liberation. She is paid the same way Antifa is crowdfunded. That's exactly right. I'm paid by mutual aid. Exactly. So I'm not going to be upset if the Party for Socialism and Liberation goes away, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not a fan of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I don't care if Trump takes out the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They are legitimately a problem. They ran a presidential and vice presidential candidate in the 2024 election. They were touring around college campuses, recruiting and radicalizing people to the far left for like a year and a half before the 2024 election. They've been around a long time, and they do cause problems. Here's the thing, though. The Party for Socialism and Liberation is nonviolent. This is why Antifa doesn't like them. Antifa has explicitly written on their website that they do not like the Party for Socialism and Liberation because the Party for Socialism and Liberation doesn't allow them, when they go to their protests, to be violent and destructive and all that stuff. That's why Antifa doesn't like them. They call them the paid protesters. Antifa believes that the Party for Socialism and Liberation is way too focused on optics because the Party for Socialism and Liberation are annoying. They're absolutely annoying. They go to protests, they have their signs, they're yelling, they're shouting, they cause commotion. They do protests all the time. The Party for Socialism and Liberation can organize a protest in your city like that. They were highly involved in the protest in Chicago yesterday. They organized those. They organize protests in Boston all the time. They're annoying as shit, but they're not violent. So while I have no issue with Trump going after the PSL, what is going on is Trump and his cronies are not being honest about what they are doing. They're telling the public they're going after Antifa when they are not. And this is the problem because Antifa is violent. Antifa, oh, look. Another conservative retard. You're a pedo. Oh, am I? You're banned off the channel. Goodbye. Go away. Antifa is violent. Wait, hang on. What's the point of bloviating about Antifa? Okay. Yep. Okay. We're getting off the rails. Guys, we need to do a reset right now because there's a lot of people watching. There are 2 rules on my channel. Don't be a dick and no whining. Don't be a dick means you will not insult me. You will not insult other people in the chat. If you are having feelings, take it elsewhere. See? Oh, conservative retards having feelings, all sorts of feelings. I want to encourage the mods in the chat to permanently ban anyone that's calling me a Democrat or calling me Antifa or anything like that because they're just being ridiculous. We cannot help those people, guys. If a conservative retard wants to come in and they're expecting me to say that Trump is the best, oh, look at that. Oh, more idiots. Oh no. Got to ban some more people today. That's fine. It's important that people understand that Trump is not going after Antifa because the violence of Antifa will not stop if the Party for Socialism and Liberation goes away. These are 2 different groups. I have been stressing ad nauseum for months that conservatives have got to start learning about the different groups that exist on the left, because different groups behave in different ways. They have different tactics. They have different organizing techniques. They have different values. They have different activists. The Party for Socialism and Liberation is not good, but they're not Antifa. They're two different groups. And so if you think that getting rid of the Party for Socialism and Liberation is going to get rid of Antifa, that's not going to happen. If you want the violence to stop, if you want the protests to stop, you need to actually go after the people who are doing the violence and who are protesting outside of ICE facilities. And that is not the Party for Socialism and Liberation. That is Antifa. Trump is lying to people about this because here's the big punchline with this. The vast majority of organizations mentioned in this report that the Trump administration is floating around to convince us that George Soros is funding Antifa, the vast majority of organizations mentioned in this report are anti-Israel organizations. I'm going to say that again. The Trump administration is not going after Antifa. The Trump administration is using Antifa as a cover to go after anti-Israel organizations. And I think we can all surmise who told Trump to do that and who devised this genius plan. And guess what? And again, you don't have to take my word for it. Just read the fucking report for yourself. The report literally says they are going after pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist organizations. That is what it says. The majority of organizations listed in this report are pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist organizations. So Trump is lying. The White House is lying. Yesterday's Antifa meeting was a load of garbage. And they're not doing anything about Antifa, guys. They're just not. And so you can expect, and you don't have to take my word for it because the proof is going to be in the pudding. There's been no mass arrests of Antifa. The violence and the protests are still continuing outside of the ICE facilities. Nothing is going to change. The Trump administration is focused on Israel, per fucking usual. Pam Bondi doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Kash Patel doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, who was it yesterday? Kristi Noem. Veli. Did you hear that Kristi Noem said Chandler is the founder of Antifa? Yesterday in the Antifa meeting, Veli will really appreciate this. And we are Veli respecters on this channel, guys. Everyone go and follow Veli Ray. Subscribe to Veli Ray. He does amazing on-the-ground coverage in Portland. Veli, yesterday Kristi Noem said that fucking Chandler, is the founder of Antifa. And if you don't know who Chandler is, ask Veli who Chandler is. Chandler is not the founder of Antifa. Chandler might have some clout in Portland, but to say that Chandler is the founder of Antifa is one of the most absurd things. Yeah, trash White House. Exactly. Veli knows. It was a trash press conference. It wasn't real. We all know what's real because we watch on the ground coverage. The idea that Kristi Noem thinks that Chandler is the leader of Antifa or the founder of Antifa, it will never not be funny. It will never not be funny. Anyway, I got some more super chats, guys. Let's grab those super chats real quick. I really do appreciate all the support. I have explained to people that Antifa is similar to we already got that one. Hang on. What is the difference or similarities between the Antifa groups in Europe protesting the G8 summits and Antifa in the US? Not trying to go down a rabbit hole, just more familiar with the Europe version. So here's the thing. I don't study Europe. I focus entirely on America. Every once in a while, I will dabble in international stuff, but really my focus 98% of the time is on America. My perception is that the Antifa groups in Europe are more extreme than the Antifa groups in America. I think Europe is in a much worse position than us. And that goes for not only Europe, but also Canada and Australia and New Zealand as well. And so that's my perception, but I don't study a lot in that area. So I'm not the best person to answer that question. I do appreciate the super chat though. Don't get mad. I never get mad if people are asking honest questions. That is the truth. Okay. If you're asking an honest, good faith question, I will never be mad at you. No matter how dumb the question is, it's all good. If they're not funded by a single person, how do we stop them? That is a great question. And that is the question the Trump administration should be asking itself right now. I know the news is lying. What would be the first thing you would do to stop them? Sorry if you've already said this. No, that's totally, totally fine. What Trump needs to do is Trump needs to start mass arresting Antifa, and he needs to put them in jail. What Trump should have done with his first executive order was Trump should have defined Antifa not based on the name of the organization, but based on the behaviors of the participants. Here is where I would start. If someone shows up to protest an ICE facility in black bloc, carrying an umbrella or any other sort of weapon, that person gets arrested. Because if you're showing up to protest an ICE facility in black bloc, you are exercising the tactics of Antifa, the stated tactics of the organization. And they write these tactics down. We reviewed their protest document, like, what was it, a week or two ago? You guys can go watch the stream about that. Antifa is very clear about their protest tactics. They're very clear about dressing up in black bloc. They're very clear about all the things they do. So if you see someone outside an ICE facility that is dressed in black bloc, that is exercising the tactics of Antifa, you arrest them, you put them in jail, and you don't let them out. Because the thing of it is that if Antifa is out of prison, Antifa is going to be organizing, they're going to be protesting, they're going to be causing chaos and violence and all that stuff. The only way to stop Antifa is to mass arrest them and get them off the streets. And silly me, I thought that Trump declared Antifa as a terrorist organization. I had this crazy idea that a couple weeks ago, Trump declared that Antifa was terrorists. So why aren't they mass arresting them? Why aren't they doing that? Why is Antifa allowed to protest these ICE facilities literally every single day of the week? Send them to Alcatraz, send them to Gitmo, bury them in a prison under the ground? I don't really fucking care. But why is the Trump administration allowing terrorists, literal terrorists, that they've already said are terrorists, why are they allowing them to protest every single day of the week? I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the lying. I'm tired of them trying to go after anti-Israel groups when they should be going after the people who are causing chaos and violence in our streets right now. And I'm tired of the MAGA supporters making excuses. It is very, very simple. Either you are in black bloc outside of an ICE facility or you are not. And if you are in black bloc, then you have to be assumed to be an Antifa. And if you are an Antifa, then you are a terrorist, and terrorists should be arrested. I don't think I'm asking too much. I think it's all very simple, and I think it's all very clear, and I'm tired of the excuses about why this can't happen. Let's go on to the next super chat. Yeah, I'm a fascist. Yup, totally. I'm absolutely a fascist. I'm 100% not trolling. What type of event or trigger would have to occur to make the other groups flee to Antifa, or to have Antifa gain heavy... Guys, Antifa is never going to gain heavy funding. Antifa doesn't need funding for most of the stuff they do. Antifa does not have, if you just watch them, you don't need funding to print stuff out on a home printer. You don't need funding to buy a black t-shirt and black jeans. You don't need funding to buy a $40 gas mask off of Amazon. By the way, Antifa has jobs. You guys know that, right? Most people in Antifa do actually have jobs. They have things that they do in the real world. Some of them are lawyers. Some of them are teachers. Some of them work for higher education institutions. Some of them work for nonprofits. Some of them work for Starbucks or Amazon. Antifa has jobs. You don't need big money backing to buy a cheap gas mask off of Amazon. You can get a cheap gas mask on Amazon. So there's no big funding. Antifa is effective because they are ideologues that have been indoctrinated into a cult. They believe this with every fiber of their being. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. They're not doing it because they're paid. They're doing it because this is their vision for the world. They truly believe they are fighting for a better world, guys. That's just reality. Thanks, Naruto, for being a channel member for 24 months. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would eventually understand the left more than Glenn Beck, the socialism guy, I would have called you insane. Oh, we're going to go back to that Glenn Beck video from yesterday, probably tomorrow. We're going to do Glenn Beck and Tucker Carlson tomorrow, I think, for happy hour. But Glenn Beck can honestly go fuck himself based on the clips I've seen from that video. I'm going to rip Glenn Beck apart when I go through that video piece by piece, because Glenn Beck is lying to the American people, and I'm really pissed off about it, and he should know better, but he is shilling the Israel narrative just like his masters want him to do, and it's really upsetting, and I'm not happy, and I'm going to rip him apart in my response to that video. So more to come on that. Money began with a nope, wrong, nope, wrong, completely wrong. Perhaps you should actually read the reports instead of listening to White House bullshit. Anyway, you want more information about that, you can go over to the website and you can read that there. Also, announcement. If you are interested in volunteering for the Center for Left-Wing Studies, which is my nonprofit, you can find out information about that. We are having our first volunteer meeting. If you don't know what this is, I have a nonprofit that I've just started where we are trying to map out the modern activist left. I'm looking for volunteers to help me do research and to do data entry and to do analysis on a lot of far left propaganda and stuff like that. If you would like to join that, head over to leftwingstudies.com, click on volunteer, and you can join us. Hey, guess what? You just broke the rules on my channel because you're being a dick. No, is this a wig? Is this a wig? No, I'm not wearing a wig, but you just got permanently banned. Bye. What an asshole. That's your typical conservative right there. Gotta fix my fucking hair. There we go. As a reminder, guys, I started talking about this earlier. We have 2 rules on the channel. Number 1, don't be a dick. Do not insult me. Do not insult other people in the audience. Number 2, no whining. I don't want to hear it. I don't care about your feelings. I care about what the truth is. I do not want to hear whining and complaining and hissy fits in the chat. That doesn't work for me. It might work for you. Don't work for me. If I don't believe the White House, why believe their report? So what you seem to not be comprehending... What you seem to not comprehend is that the White House's own report completely contradicts what the White House is telling to the public. The White House apparently doesn't believe its own report because the things that Trump and his team are saying to the public are not backed up in any way by what's in that report. So... yeah, they all want me to look like a conservative Barbie. I have to lose 50 pounds. I have to dye my hair blonde. I got to get a good push-up bra if I'm going to be on all these conservative shows. Because that, of course, is all they care about. Bro. Hey, thanks, Lisa Marie, for gifting some channel memberships. Let's see who got a channel membership. Let's see. Cameron, Blondie, Lauren, Hands, and there should be another one. It's trying real hard to gift another one. Well... someone's going to get another gift in there. I don't know who's going to be, but I guess we'll see. Thank you for that. I also want to do Not a Panda over on Rumble. Do you think the admin utilizing NSA mass surveillance programs would identify the troublemakers? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. All right. One last announcement before we get started. I do want to remind everyone that we are doing a Halloween merchandise special limited edition collection in the Red Menace Supply Company merch store. So this is my merchandise store. You can get lots of cool anti-communist stuff. And we currently have our limited edition Halloween collection up, and all of the designs in the limited Halloween collection are available for 25% off through this weekend. So we've got the collectivism design, which is one of my favorite designs. This is a favorite from last year. You can get that on black or red. The red version looks sick. I have it. I wear it all the time. It's awesome. We have the favorite from last year, the Marxist Utopia of the Dead. You can get that black. You can get it in tan. You can get it in brown. All that stuff. This is also a really cool design that a lot of people really like that one. And then we've got a couple new designs. We have this one, which is the communism one, the boot never lifts. That's also available in black, and you can also get it in red too. Look at the red one. The red one is sick. I can't wait to get the red one. I think it's going to be awesome. And then our last one, I did a little play on one of my favorite horror movies, which is The Village of the Damned. And in my Village of the Damned, it's all about pride flags and stuff like that. So all of this merch is available for 25% off through this weekend only. All purchases do fund the work I'm doing. And that's over in the Red Menace Supply Company, which is redmenacesupply.com. Let's see. Never knew how ignorant I was about Antifa until I got out of my own way and started listening to Reality and Karlyn too. It's enlightening. I do appreciate that. Hey, thanks, Jed. Welcome to the YouTube channel membership. Actually, YouTube channel members, I do have one more announcement before we conclude. Did I hear JD Delay was swatted by Antifa? I did not hear that. Thank you for letting me know. Prita, thanks for becoming a member of the channel. One more thing, guys. One more thing. We have a spy stream coming up today. So starting at 6:45, so I'm going to have to end this stream by 6:45, so we got to get into that Antifa document. We will be doing a spy stream where we're going inside 2 leftist organizing calls. It starts around 7 p.m., so I'm going to get the stream up and running by then. So if you want to join us for that YouTube channel membership, you can find the information in the membership tab or in the post tab, community tab. You can also find it over on the Substack if you're a member of Locals, Patreon, or Twitter subscriber. You can join us for spy stream. That's going to go around 7 o'clock tonight. And so we got to get into the crime thing stuff. We got to get into this. Okay, we got to get into this. Dang, this stream is going fast, man. We got to get into this. Let's see. We got a $10 Rumble rant. Is the theory that progressives, 50-51 and indivisible, are running a color revolution, that the revolutionary communists are going to try to hijack it? I don't know. I'm not fully on board with that theory. I understand where it comes from because they did a webinar where they were talking about it. I'm not convinced that's actually happening. I think it was more like, what if we did this? But maybe it is, but we'll keep an eye on it. And if I think it becomes a real thing, I'll let you guys know. Tolkien fan, conservative influencers had me thinking Antifa was a militant arm of the Democratic Party until I started watching Karlyn's videos and actually covering Antifa training videos and documents. I was lied to. Common story. Common story. All right, guys, we do have to get into this document because we have a time limit. We got 45 minutes to analyze this document. This is Antifa talking about their plans for the No King's Day protest. I'm going to use my AI reader to read this for me because I don't want to read it myself. Let's get this party started. Mount the like button for me, and we will see what they had to say.
No kings, no masters. A call for anti-authoritarian blocks at the October 18th No Kings demonstrations. This is a call for you, yes. You specifically to organize an anti-authoritarian bloc in your community for the No Kings demonstrations on October 18th. If you are willing to do this, skip directly to the House section. Fascism has come to power in the United States. People around the world are horrified, but simply marching in the streets once every few months is not enough.
Hang on.
We have to get out.
Hang on. The last No King's Day protest was the largest single-day protest in American history. Now, I know that there are a lot of conservatives who don't think the last No King's Day protest was successful because you listen to conservative bullshit commentators who lied to you. But the fact is, the last No King's Day protest was the largest single-day protest in American history. I would say that's actually pretty fucking successful. And this one coming up next week is probably going to be bigger than the first one was. So yes, it was very successful for them. Absolutely.
We have to get out there and draw people into concrete organizing and activity. No one else is going to do this for us. Far-right billionaires have bought up practically all the media outlets and communications platforms. Our best chance to reach people is in the streets, through grassroots initiatives. No Kings is not our only opportunity to reach out to people. But as Trump consolidates control, we can't afford to let a single opportunity pass us by. Anarchists are known for our courage. We have gotten used to acting boldly in an array of contexts. What is needed now is the courage to take the first step to establish public positions around which a fighting movement can cohere. This both scarier and simpler than many of the things we have done in the past. To face down Donald Trump's power grab and his terror campaign targeting Antifa, we need everyone of all walks of life to proclaim that opposition to fascism is both laudable and urgent. We must contribute to a ferment that brings together everyone from the fiercest participants in the George Floyd revolt to retirees that protested at Tesla outlets last spring. This does not mean limiting ourselves to lowest common denominator proposals. That is no way to make a big tent movement. Rather, we need everyone to show up with their own political analysis and objectives and organizing culture, but with an understanding that we all need each other.
Okay, I just want to stop on this for a second. What they're saying is we have all these different things that we're doing. It's not just about protesting outside of the ICE facilities. It's also about doing the Tesla boycotts. They're also boycotting Avuelo Airlines, which is connected to the deportations. It's about organizing rapid response groups in our communities. We have all these different groups that are doing all of these different things. We're not all doing the same thing, but we all have to come together and proclaim our opposition to fascism, what they call fascism. When Antifa says fascism, they basically mean anything to the right of Antifa. So that includes the Democratic Party, by the way. The Democratic Party is considered to be a fascist organization by Antifa. So yes, I'm sure this is all a clever ploy. I'm sure conservatives that this website, which, by the way, if you read this website, you actually will see a precursor of the tactics that are implemented in the real world. But I'm sure it's all a clever ploy, conservatives. I'm sure it's just up as a trick. I'm sure it's all just up as misdirection. It's not as though we can look at this website and then look at what Antifa's doing in the real world and see it's the same fucking thing. I'm sure it's just misdirection. Great idea, conservatives. Excellent. Yep.
We have
totally.
arrived at this crisis because capitalism has concentrated so much power in the hands of the extremely wealthy that
we have arrived at this crisis because capitalism has concentrated so much power in the hands of the extreme wealthy that the entire social order has become unstable. They believe that every crisis we are facing in the country right now is because of capitalism. That's why they want to overthrow it.
We have arrived at this crisis because capitalism has concentrated so much power in the hands of the extremely wealthy that the entire social order has become unstable. This is not just about a single authoritarian politician to get out of this mess. We will have to enact social change on a larger scale than any of us have seen in our lifetimes.
Overthrowing capitalism.
That same instability gives more people a stake in that change than ever before. The stakes are high, but together we can rise to the opportunity. Marching with signs is not enough. How to do it?
Wait.
If you participate.
I just want to stop and just point this out. Yesterday in the press conference, in the PR stunt Antifa press conference that they held, what did Trump say? Trump says, Antifa prints these beautiful signs. Where are they getting the money for the signs? Every time you see a protest, Antifa has these beautiful signs. Again, Trump is confused. Trump is talking about the Party for Socialism and Liberation, who gets their money from a rich guy connected to the CCP. The signs literally say on them, Party for Socialism and Liberation. Antifa does not print signs. Antifa doesn't march with signs. The most that Antifa marches with is an Antifa flag. That's what you're going to see there. Or maybe there might be a couple other things, but they're not marching with these big signs, okay? Look at this picture. They're saying marching with signs is not enough. They actually put a fucking image of the people marching with the big, beautiful signs that Trump is obsessed with. And they're like, yeah, that's not good enough for us.
If you participate in an organization with a social media platform, or you feel comfortable organizing over your own social media accounts, announce a meeting point and visual cue in advance. For example, me at the corner of 14th and Broadway at 10 a.m. at the banner reading No Kings, No Masters. If you don't have a social media platform, invite everyone you trust over Signal. Even if there are only 2 of you, you can still paint a massive banner and carry it between the 2 of you, making your message clear to everyone. Who knows how many anarchists and potential anarchists attended the No Kings demonstration in June, but concluded that they were the only ones there because no one, including them, had made such a banner.
So again, they're saying, and I want to emphasize this, Antifa is not involved in the organizing of the No Kings Day protests. The No Kings Day protests are organized by progressives. What they're doing is, hang on. Okay. Maybe Trump is more interested in using that donation as other things to help them with attempting to take down Soros. Let me explain this calmly and as bluntly as I can possibly explain. If Trump takes down Soros and the Open Society Foundation closes tomorrow, and there is never another Soros donation in the history of the world, if Trump confiscates all of the Open Society Foundation money right now, and there is never a single solitary cent that comes out of Soros, that will not get rid of Antifa. Antifa will keep organizing. Antifa will keep being violent. Antifa will keep doing every single thing that they're doing, because getting rid of Soros is not going to fucking stop. Antifa, Amalek, go fuck yourself. I wish people were paying me $7,000 for a tweet pro-Israel. Whatever. God. Yeah, exactly. Wah. Exactly. Yep. Uh-huh.
Who knows how many anarchists and potential anarchists attended the No Kings demonstration in June, but concluded that they were the only ones there because no one, including them, had made such a banner. If you anticipate that there will be 3 or more of you, make sure everyone has something to do. To equip anyone who might join you, you can print out posters on 11-inch by 17-inch paper and affix them to cardboard. Better still, break the poster image into quadrants and print each quadrant out at 400% size, then assemble them parts into a much bigger whole. You could also make a piñata or some other form of effigy.
You could make a piñata or something to burn at the protest. Actually, this is really good information. So I would encourage people, if you want to go to the No King's Day protest in your area just to see what's going on, I definitely encourage people to do that. Going, like, for people who are interested in going to leftist events like I do to see what's going on, this is a very low risk event to go to. There's probably not going to be violence. There's probably not going to be any nonsense or anything like that. Hang on. And so I would encourage people to do that. But if you go to a No King's Day protest, I want you to keep an eye out for anarchists. And this report will tell you what to keep an eye out for. And if you see them, take a picture of it and send it to me, because I would really like to get a sense of, like, how many Antifa are actually showing up at these types of protests. And so if you guys are going to go, then keep an eye out for stuff like this. Keep an eye out for people with these homemade signs talking about anarchist things. Keep an eye out for people who have made a piñata or an effigy or things like that. And that way we can get a sense of how many of these people there actually are going to these types of protests. Arts and crafts with subversives. Yes, exactly. Yep.
You could also make a piñata or some other form of effigy. If there are dozens of you involved in the organizing, make your block festive and lively with drum corps or a sound system.
Drum
Just
corps.
for practice. You could bring shields or a reinforced banner emblazoned with your message knot with the intention of getting into any sort of confrontation, but simply to normalize such things for other demonstrators so they can learn to feel comfortable around them.
Oh, yo, look at this. They're saying, we don't anticipate any sort of confrontation at the No King's Day protests, but you should bring your shields just to get the progressives used to being around the shields. So they're trying to normalize, like, bringing their shields, bringing their weapons to things like this so that people get used to seeing that stuff around.
But simply to normalize such things for other demonstrators so they can learn to feel comfortable around them. Make flyers in advance promoting an event to take place after the No Kings rally. Make at least hundreds of them. You don't want to run out. This may be your only chance to see most of these people. If there are only a few of you, your post-No Kings event could be an educational event teaching people about how to resist ICE.
Okay, so now they're saying, here's what we need to do. We need to have our own anarchist events that take place after the No King's Day protest so we can go and hand out flyers and get people to come to our event later. So again, I told you, Antifa is using this as an opportunity to try to find people that are inclined to radicalize to the far left, and they're giving them an entryway into the far left ecosystem to say, you know what, is this protest not extreme enough for you? You can come and talk to us. Yeah, this is basically a recruitment drive. That's what this is. And then they're going to have some sort of event or educational thing afterwards where they're going to invite you into some sort of bookstore or to some anarchist space where you're going to be introduced to far left activism.
If there are only a few of you, your post-No Kings event could be an educational event teaching people about how to resist IC or practice proper security culture or engage in direct action planning. If there are more of you, you can invite them to a subsequent protest or a mutual aid event or a community assembly about how to organize collective defense. The idea is to see them again in an environment that will enable you to build political affinity together, or at least determine the extent to which you share it without taking any needless risks that could expose you to agents provocateurs. If your community already has an announcements-only signal loop for rapid response organizing, you could distribute that via flyers as well.
Rapid response organizing, for people who don't know, rapid response organizing is basically like, if someone spots an ICE agent in their neighborhood, they have these signal groups with all the different people in their neighborhood where they say, I just saw an ICE agent on Elm Street or whatever. And so that message goes out to everyone in the neighborhood, and then they know to protect people from deportation that live on Elm Street, or they come out, they try to block the ICE vehicle, they try to be a distraction, stuff like that. So that's what they're talking about when they say like rapid response organizing.
If your community already has an announcements-only signal loop for rapid response organizing, you could distribute that via flyers as well, so the people you encounter will have more than one chance to get involved. Prepare some chants in advance.
Hey,
It's
thanks,
conceivable
Frank.
that you will encounter
Appreciate it.
pushback from reactionaries or from irascible liberals, or even from official no-king.
Oh, it's conceivable that you will encounter pushback from reactionaries or from irascible liberals. Remember, Antifa doesn't like liberals. Duncan learned this. He talked about it on the Joe Rogan Experience. Antifa hates liberals. They are not liberals. They complain about liberals so much more than they complain about conservatives. It's not even funny. And so Antifa does not like liberals. They consider them to be the ideological enemy.
It's conceivable that you will encounter pushback from reactionaries or from irascible liberals, or even from official No Kings organizers. Stand your ground. You do not have as much to fear from them as you have to fear from what is in store for all of us if we do not mobilize. Some people will appreciate you being there. Those are the ones you have to reach at all costs. However frightening it is to take the step, the consequences of not try will be more frightening. Remember, if you can read these words, there are others putting themselves out there at least as much as you are. That means you are not alone, and the struggle is not hopeless. We don't expect the October 18th No Kings rallies to be as widely attended as the
that's
ones last June.
interesting. Okay.
In June, a wave of protest activity was already sweeping the country.
So I've been hearing from like leftist groups that, and actually, like, I've been hearing from a lot of people that they think the No King's Day protests are going to be bigger than the ones in June. So it's interesting that Antifa's like, we don't actually expect it to be as big as the ones in June, but this doesn't mean it's not an opportunity for them. I've been hearing from some weird places to like really pay attention to the No King's Day protests. I don't really understand why that is, because I have not seen anything exceptional come out of the organizing for the No King's Day protests. So it's kind of a weird thing that I keep hearing whispers like that. So we'll just pay attention to that. Maybe I'm missing something. It's entirely possible. But Antifa's not expecting them to be that big. So that's interesting.
In June, a wave of protest activity was already sweeping the country, starting in Minneapolis and spreading to Los Angeles and beyond. Contrary to the liberals who fear that confrontation scares people away from movements, we have seen over the past decade that people are most likely to get involved in struggles when they see that there is something concrete immediately at stake.
Okay, I want to just break this down. Contrary to the liberals, again, they don't like liberals, who fear that confrontation scares people away from movements, we've seen over the past decade that people are most likely to get involved in struggles when they see something concrete immediately at stake. When Antifa is out doing protest or direct action, they are usually trying to provoke the police in order to do something violent. They are trying to provoke a violent confrontation with the police. They're trying to provoke a violent confrontation with ICE. We see them do this all the time when we're watching the live streams outside of the ICE facilities. We've seen them do this with Tommy several times outside of Portland, where they try to, they like shoulder check Tommy, or they steal Tommy's hat, or they do something like that because they're trying to provoke Tommy to be violent to get Tommy arrested, which they've done now on 2 occasions. And now Tommy's learning and he's not buying into their shit. But they do the same thing to the police that they do with Tommy, which is they try to provoke the police to do something violent so they can get it on video so that they can then try to recruit and radicalize more people. In this sentence, they're saying liberals don't want to use violence, but we know better. We know we can recruit more people to our side if we're provoking a violent interaction.
Contrary to the liberals who fear that confrontation scares people away from movements, we have seen over the past decade that people are most likely to get involved in struggles when they see that there is something concrete immediately at stake. Nonetheless, people will come to the No Kings demonstrations, and you should be there to engage with them. At the very least, you will be building skills and networks and a habit of acting that will serve you well in the months to come. We should concern ourselves with forging a future where no single person, whether king or president, can claim the right to rule over millions. This means rejecting the increasingly authoritarian form of government we live under today and building something better, a society rooted in true self-determination, decentralized and non-hierarchical decision-making, and cooperative economics.
Oh, what?
Ryan,
wait, I'm sorry. What was that? I'm sorry. What was that? This means rejecting the increasingly authoritarian form of government we live under today and building something better. A society rooted in true self-determination, decentralized, non-hierarchical decision-making, and cooperative economics. Antifa is telling you how they are organized. They are organized in a decentralized, non-hierarchical decision-making form. There is no leader in Antifa. There is no hierarchy in Antifa. They have a different process for coming to community consensus and making decisions. There is no official structure where someone gives an order and then a group of people go out to do it. They are decentralized. There are thousands of cells all over the country, and they read sites like CrimeThink, and CrimeThink says, here are some things that we can do, guys. We can go to the protests. We can hand stuff out. We can have our own events. We can do all this and that. But is this an order? Is this article on CrimeThink an order for people to go out and do all this stuff? No, it's not. It's literally just an article saying, guys, if you want to take advantage of this No Kings thing, this article is read by thousands of anarchists all over the country. They're saying, here are some things that you guys can do if you feel like doing it. And then there will be some Antifa groups that go and do all of this stuff. And there'll be some Antifa groups that completely ignore it and they go do something else, or they go hang out, or like whatever. Not every Antifa group is going to be doing this. I would bet there's going to be quite a bit in major cities where the protests are really large. But Antifa is telling you in their own documents, we are decentralized. We are non-hierarchical. Andy No says there's about 30 cells. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this again. If Andy No thinks there are only 30 Antifa cells, Andy No is smoking some really fucking strong weed or crack or something else. I don't know what the fuck that guy is on. There is no fucking universe in which there are only 30 cells. There is no universe in which that's real. No universe at all. That is complete garbage. I'm sorry. Listen, and I've said this before and I'll say it again because people say I shit talk Andy No too much. I have a great deal of respect for a lot of the things that Andy No has done. I really do. I have a great deal of respect for the fact that he did boots on the ground reporting. I think we should respect all boots on the ground reporters. I really do. I think his book about Antifa is very good. I am not saying that everything Andy No has ever said and done is bad. However, Andy No spreads an increasingly shocking amount of misinformation, saying This person is former Antifa. This is a former member of Antifa. I don't know if I agree with the 10,000 number, but to say there is only 30 Antifa cells, that is complete and total garbage. And if Andy is actually saying there's only 30 Antifa cells, he has lost his fucking mind. That is there were thousands in the 2000s. Okay, I'll take your word for it. You know better than I do. But like, Andy is spreading a shocking amount of misinformation to people. He's doing it to hold up a conservative narrative. Andy has not been on the ground with Antifa in a long time. Andy doesn't even live in the United States anymore. He lives in London. So, with all due respect to the work that Andy Ngo has done in the past, which I will never take away from him, he is full of shit if he's telling people there are only 30, that's mind-boggling to me. That is completely unhinged from reality. Completely unhinged. Anyway, that's basically the end of this. What's this link? No kings, how about no presidents? What's this? Oh, look at this. It's an article about the No Kings protest with some cool paintings. All right. So we now know, based on what's posted on Crime Think's website, what they're thinking about doing for the No Kings protest. They are going to go, they're going to hand out flyers, they're going to have their own events, they're going to try to make signs to find other anarchists. That's basically what they're doing. So that is that. So now you guys know what's going on. If you want to follow this stuff, guys, I always recommend checking out Crime Think. Now, Crime Think is not the only news organization or the news website where you can follow stuff with Antifa. Crime Think is just one of the larger ones, the more famous ones. There are many different anarchist websites on the internet. There are many, many, many different anarchist websites on the internet. But if you want access to this information directly, you can see it there. You can read about Antifa attacking the Broadview facility in Chicago. They wrote about that on their website. This is Antifa's response to the Trump administration declaring them a terrorist organization. They have all sorts of cool stuff on this website. Actually, let me see if I can find the thing from the No Kings protest last time. Thank you. In 2013, estimated 15,000 to 18,000. No idea how many little clans, but definitely well over 30. Yeah, I think it's way more than that, to be honest with you. I think it's way more than that. Let's see if we can go back to June. This is Antifa's report on the ICE raids, right? Or not the ICE raids, the Los Angeles riots, right there. Hey, thanks, Chris, for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate that. Antifa's reports on Minneapolis. More Antifa reporting on the ICE stuff. They definitely had at some point. I wonder if I can find it. Hang on. Let me look over on my website. Hang on. No Kings. Oh, here it is. So let's see. Found it. So this is what Antifa handed out at the No Kings protest last time. I'll put this in the chat if people want to see it. I told you guys that back in June, they handed out this flyer. And you can see here, hey, thanks, Starla, for becoming a member of the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This was back in June, a flyer to distribute at the No Kings demonstration in June. And you can see right here, here's the flyer. And one of the things that's interesting about this flyer is there's no name on it. There's no organizational name. So you can go and actually read what it says. This is fascism. Trump is fascism. It's all very generic. Like, we need to be disruptive. The Democratic, check this out. Check this out. The Democratic Party, the courts, and all existing institutions of the government have failed. In the Antifa document that was handed out at the No Kings protest in June, they are saying that the Democratic Party has failed. Antifa does not support Democrats. Antifa does not like Democrats. Antifa believes that Democrats are no different than Republicans, okay? The law is now Trump's weapon, and the police, ICE, DHS, FBI, the National Guards, Marine, whatever, they are all his foot soldiers. This is fascism, blah, blah, blah. The first days of the Los Angeles uprising showed what effective action looks like. Not an army with guns, but everyday people collectively dismantling police equipment, preventing ICE cops from enforcing Trump's command, blah, blah, blah. We're being told that disruptive demonstrations are just playing into Trump's hands by giving him a pretext for military dictatorship. The regime doesn't need a pretext. They will invent whatever reasons they want to justify what they are going to do. Listen to this, peacefully making our voices heard will do nothing to stop them. They don't care. You know this. With judges and politicians unable or unwilling, it is time for us to stop the fascist machine. They were telling people in June, non-violent, peaceful protest is not going to change anything. They were explicit. Okay? Thanks, Darla, for the 5 gifted channel memberships. Let's see who got one. Azerwing, James D, Cancun, Mythos, and Dana. Congrats to everyone who got a membership. This is not new. You remember the summer of 2020, the George Floyd rebellion opened with police precincts burned, cop cars disabled, corporate stores across the country looted. The opening moves of the Los Angeles uprising shows how to stop it. It began with people refusing to stand by during ICE raids and surrounding ICE agents, and moved to burning cars, throwing rocks, fireworks at the police. They were telling people to be violent because nonviolence doesn't work. Fighting back is a collective strategic intelligence. Tyrants are nothing without police to carry out their commands. Police are nothing without their tools, etc., etc. Anyway, in a dictatorship, we are not citizens with rights. We are earthlings being threatened with extinction by a small group of psychopaths. That means the federal government. We have a choice. You are either under Trump's rules or we are above his laws. All acts of resistance to tyranny are acts of community self-defense. Antifa believes and is trying to tell people that because Trump is trying to deport illegals, that is an act of tyranny targeting their communities. They are specifically talking about deportations here because the deportations are what they are specifically pissed off about. They are telling you that as long as Trump is deporting their friends and families in their communities, thanks Puzzles for becoming a new member, I really appreciate it, that the deportations are an act of tyranny, and therefore violence in defense of the community is an act of self-defense. Does everyone get that? If Trump is deporting illegals, he is performing an act of tyranny according to Antifa, and the performance of an act of tyranny necessitates community self-defense. This is what was handed out at the No Kings protest back in June. And now they're telling people to go use the No Kings protest again to recruit and radicalize more people to Antifa. Does everyone get it? That's how this works. That's how people get into the far left pipeline. They go to an event, they just think they're protesting, they don't like Trump, and then someone hands them a flyer and they say, why don't you come to our bookstore? We're having a meeting later about how to stop ICE deportations. And you don't like ICE deportations because you're a Democrat or something. And you're like, yeah, I don't like ICE deportations. And then you go to their bookstore and then you get pulled into far left radical circles. And then they start feeding you all sorts of stuff and propaganda, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And that's how you grow a movement. That's how you grow a grassroots movement. Because Antifa are not paid protesters. This is not an expensive tactic. We're literally guys, like, this is what drives me so crazy about conservatives saying that these are highly funded protesters. They're printing out flyers on their home printers and handing them out at protests. And they're saying, come to our spaces and come to our events and we'll talk to you. This is how grassroots organizing is done. They're not doing this because they're paid to do it. They're not doing it because they're funded by some boogeyman. They're doing it because they truly believe this. This is part of their identity. This is part of who they are. Okay? I wish we could go into it further, guys. I wish we could have a longer show today. We got a great audience. I really appreciate everyone coming to the channel. Please make sure you mount the like button for me. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I stream Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We do Socialism Saturday on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Normally, I do stream longer at 5 p.m., but we've got some spy streams to go do. Spy stream is when we go inside a live leftist organizing call, and we're not just watching one organizing call tonight. There are 2 different organizing calls tonight. 2 different groups, 2 different calls. One of them may be related to the No Kings protest. I'm just saying. One of them may be related to the Democratic Socialists of America. One of them may be related to the No Kings Day protest. One of them may be a Know Your Rights training where they're teaching illegals how not to get deported. One may be about the No Kings Day protest organizing. Don't tell anyone. But we are going to be going inside those calls. We are going to watch them live. If you want to join us, if you are a YouTube channel member, go to the community tab where the posts are. You will be able to find a link to the secret spy stream. If you are a supporter on the Substack, you can go over there. If you want to join the Substack for $8 a month, $80 a year, you can get access to this and all future spy streams. I will put the link in the chat. You can also find the link if you're a member of my locals community, my Patreon, or if you're a Twitter subscriber. And I'm going to be shutting down this stream, and we're going to start up this stream in a few minutes. And I will hopefully, if there's stuff going on tonight, I will do live protest coverage later. If there's like streams and stuff, it was a little bit quiet last night, but I am currently planning on doing live protest coverage later if there's actually stuff going on. Okay. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Thank you guys for stopping by the channel. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the support people have been giving me lately. It's awesome. Thank you guys for letting me do what I do. I'm going to go set up the spy stream now. We're going to go get our leftist infiltration on. I'll see you guys on the other side. And if I don't see you then, I will see you back for protest coverage another day. Take care, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.